again, beautiful ones. It's been a few days since I've been on, actually. Been a bit busy in the garden here and doing a few things. But it's quite amazing, actually. You know, when I hear that recording again, and I was hoping you would play it in the room because I feel there's some good value in there for people. You know, I enjoy listening to it again because, you know, when I hear that expression myself, I think it's quite an amazing fact that, you know, the Spirit of truth does come through me, comes through other people, but it's like when someone else is speaking truth, it resonates with you. And even hearing that recording again, it resonates with me. And it's like someone else was telling me that, you know, it's like it didn't matter if it was me saying it or someone else, it was like the frequency that's there, you know, and the words that are coming through. And I've always been asking, you know, my high dimensional structure of consciousness to continue to reveal to me the next step. You know, what's the next step? You know, like, I mean, I might have sort of reached a plateau, you know, sort of bottomed out, and I feel a bit flat, or, you know, it's not so much flat, but just like I've been building. I've been receiving a great revelation and expansion of consciousness. Then all of a sudden it's sort of gone a little bit leveled off, you know. And so having leveled off, I get the prompt then, you know. It's like, what do I do now? It's like, what next? And that's always been my, you might say, my trigger cycle. You know, it's like when I flatten off, I am prompted to say what next. So, you know, I'm always on that place of, I want greater integration. I want more, greater, increase upon increase. Bring the quickening, quicken the quicken. You know, it's like the more I'm learning at the moment is, I mentioned even on that recording that you just heard, that there are many aspects of ourselves come down here into incarnation. You know, the God self to have stepped itself down as you. There are 1,728 selves plus the 12 probable selves, you know, so there's really 20,736 you know, you running around, you know, on different space-time places. It could be, you know, past incarnational selves, it can be future incarnational selves, but they're all happening simultaneously. Like, I mean, the past and the future, there's no different, because when you are in the past, it's now. And when you are in the future, it's now. And so the now moment, or the living memory matrix that's recorded of true life processes, is always filed into the living matrix, which is always a now. And it's only ever the rejected records in time that are projected, you know, from your mind into a field of unreality. So time cycles, virtually, you know, when all the time cycles are finished, anything that's trapped in time as a record in time is held as a partition in your mind between parts of your living memory. So, you know, you want your living memory to be one whole mind computing as a solid state computer, but you've got, say, projected time sequences filed down there as separations in your mind, holding you away from a continuity of instantaneous communication within your own awareness. So, you know, past, present and future are continuously there. And you've got many aspects of yourself in, you know, different incarnational stages or time cycles, but they're still occurring at the same time, you know, when you're present with yourself. So what I've been learning to do is to accelerate my learning process. And so it's not just me here at the moment, this flesh and blood body, this teaching and learning device, it's not just me here at the moment that's saying to myself, I will see what I can do to let the mind of Christ come into me. It's not just me letting that. I'm saying to my other parts of consciousness, you know, you might say 20,736 aspects of self. I'm telling those at night when I go to sleep, I'm saying, look, you know, I ask the Guardian Alliance, which is, you know, the future parts of consciousness, those collectives, those gestalt, those family lines of soul, oversoul, avatar, rishi family lines. I'm asking the helpers that are there to come to me and guide me to other parts of myself so I can meet myself. because I want to meet myself and join every other part of myself together. It's okay, Deborah, I'm recording this here live so I can give you a copy. Yeah, so I want to really meet those other parts of myself, which means, when I'm no longer fragmented and all the little records of myself, you might say that the living memory sections of myself, I want to bring them all together as one continuous mind that's solid state. I don't want to be partitioned off by records of time that are held as a record against me. I often had this little thought, it's like the law courts, when you've got a record, it's like it's something that's written against you, right? If the police say to you, oh look, there's a record against you, in the filing system of the police, it's got a record, and you've been charged, and before you can be discharged, or have the record struck, you've got to balance something, you've got to pay a debt, or you've got to, balance the ledger somehow. So if there's been a charge against you, and you've been found wanting, or you've been found guilty, it's like something is in you that's deficient, and that deficient part is the living memory. In other words, you received something into yourself that was it was a lie, and you've taken it into yourself, and it could not be accepted or assimilated into the living memory of your your true self, and so it's projected, and it's projected out, and it's like an electrical charge. There's a charge against you, and it won't come into harmony, and so it's holding a charge, and that charge is a record in space and time that's projected into the screen of your hologram, and it's going to continue to be there as a sowing and reaping, as a karmic debt. It's going to be continuously there, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. You're going to be continuously projecting the records in your mind that are held in time, that cannot be assimilated into the living memory matrix, and they are divisions in time which are holding like layers of partitions in between all of your memory, your living memory, and you can't find all those other lost parts of yourself. You can't find those other living memory sort of experiences where you can have it one whole mind. It's all divided off because of the distortions that are in the templates of your hologram, stored down in the biological form through many incarnational lives that you've had there, So virtually you're going to be saying to yourself, I want to really recollect or ingather all of my own individual experiences of life, that belong to me, that are really like the laying down of the DNA strands in the certain time cycles that have been given you to build your living memory matrix. You want to recollect them together as a continuity. You don't want to have them all divided up and not be able to access your memory, right? So the reason we can't really remember past incarnational lives is because when we come into the bodysuit, when we incarnate and we build a body for ourselves in the womb of our mother, when our soul starts to knit together, through the biological form, that bodysuit. The bodysuit has got a lot of other records of time of the family lines of genetics, from separation, and your soul hasn't really got a connection into those other parts until you start to put up an antenna that can communicate through the maze and through the matrix of control and start to communicate with other parts internally and externally into the hologram of reality in the cosmic structure. So really what you're going to be doing is, as you go off to sleep, and this is one thing that I have endeavoured to do, and I do every night. I lay down in bed and I just put my legs out straight, put my hands beside me, and I'll put my hands on my heart or on my belly or something like that, and I just sort of ask a question. I focus my mind, I centre myself, I get my breathing under control into a nice slow breath, and I focus on God, and I know that God is me, God is my higher structure, and I ask the Guardian Alliance to take me, because we do an exercise through what we call the Aurora Continuum, which is like the spaces between the atoms. It's almost like some corridors within the structure of consciousness that are dimensional blending zones between harmonic universes. So there's 5 harmonic universes that we sort of mainly work with. There's 4, or actually really 5 now that we're talking about. There's 5 aurora continuums, or you might say elemental blending zones, where we mix consciousness from one harmonic universe to the next, and where we can also travel like a hyperdimensional, very, very quick computation and travel to any other space-time location, and we can actually go out there and meet other parts of ourselves in a dream state. You know, I don't particularly remember all of them. Sometimes I get a flash, but if you make the intention, you can be very sure that when the Guardian Alliance comes to help you, you know, in those orb forms. I've talked a little bit about orbing on some other talks, where high dimensional structures of consciousness orbs in, and it's part of your own consciousness. It orbs in when you make the appeal from your orbing. It's just like angels ascending and descending. We're talking about orbing technology. So you're orbing as you're laying down there in bed. You're asking through a pure intention. You're asking the Guardian Alliance to take you, or, you know, part of your consciousness to project like a bilocate self, you know, because we learned how to make bilocate self, or a mini-me, or just a part of consciousness, to go into different dimensional zones and blending zones to actually pick up encryption codes to bring it back into our biological form. So we can actually say create bilocate self, go into orb state, go into the aurora continuum, or the first aurora continuum, which is dealing with harmonic universe 1 and 2, and you can actually say, let me meet the 20,736 aspects of myself, those constituent parts of me that have got space-time experiences where I want to clear the fields, those parts of me where I want to actually release the time-locked memories, you know, or the time-locked records, really, because the memories are living memories, and the records are what overlays the memory and divides the memory off through time cycles. So you're going to go in there and ask to meet all of those other parts of yourself, and you're going to go there. It's like instantaneously you can go there. In actual fact, you can split your consciousness and you can meet all of those parts simultaneously, because you can go to them all simultaneously, because under the guidance of the Aurora Continuum and the host arrangement. And you can actually start to be working on your other incarnational life cycle times, where you had not completed the laying down of your DNA strands completely, or where you had certain issues that you had to deal with, you know, forgiveness, extending love. Maybe you've done the wrong thing, you've done harm, you know, you need to release grievances, you need to choose again, you know, and reconstruct the laying down of your DNA strands in a proper order, so that you can actually get the experiences that you wanted. So because that was you back then, or, you know, in some space-time that was actually living that life, and you know, it's corrupting you now and keeping you away from your power, you can actually say, well, I am simultaneously existing in all space-time continuums of my life experience, and I can go there right now, and I can meet all those parts, and I can, you know, choose again. You know, I can pull down the imaginations, I can bring love where I once, you know, brought harm, you know, etc., etc. And so that's been some of the process of really just healing the body biological computer. Now, because you've inherited this bodysuit called the flesh and blood coat of corruption, you know, it's a chemical coat of coded corruption from, you know, the ancestral lineages, you know, and if you look at it, you've got many, many, many parents that actually contributed into the you know, the design of your bodysuit. I mean, you know, your parents, they donated the sperm and the egg, and so did their parents. And you know, you keep on going right back. If you go from, there's you're number 1, you go to your parents, there's 2, go to their parents, there's 4, go to theirs, there's 8, then there's 16, there's 32. You keep on going back through all the generations of creation, and you came from a mass of people, and you're holding the distortions of genetic coding that's gone right through the lineage of those who are in separation from God in their mind, and those who have been programmed by this world of corruption. You know, you're holding it all, whether it be sickness, disease, curses or blessings, or whatever's coming through that biological suit, you're carrying it all, right? And so if you're going to bring that that true word, that word of truth in, that incorruptible, undefiled seed that's